So these seats look amazing, but somehow I feel they are not as bolstered as the last generation Ranger Raptor. So, you know, could be better. So the front seats are fully electrically adjustable, 10-way adjustable. That's really good. But it's a shame that they don't have the memory seats that I believe the European version has, but New Zealand version doesn't have that, because if you have a different height people who's gonna drive this car, you won't be able to memorize the seat. You have to adjust them every time. So these side steps are very convenient and they're really sturdy. They're made out of metal, but somehow it's a bit smaller than the last generation Ranger Raptor. So, you know, less convenient when you're trying to get in and out every day, all the time. It'll be nicer if they are a bit larger, like the last generation Ranger Raptor. So this V6 is actually very powerful, but the thing about this is it's got 583 Newton meters of torque, but the maximum torque only comes in at around 3,500 revs, compared to the last generation Ranger Raptor, which only had a 2-liter engine, but it's also got 500 Newton meters of torque, and the maximum torque of that engine actually comes in much earlier at around 1,750 revs. So if you're driving this new generation Raptor around town at lower speed and at lower revs, you can actually sometimes feel the torque is not as much. The lower end torque is actually not as much as the last generation Ranger Raptor. So for the Wildtrak, it actually comes with a side step right here. So it's easier to step up here and access your rear tray. But for the Raptor, it doesn't have that, because we have a nice looking stainless steel exhaust right here, pipe, that because of the location of this, they are unable to do a step, because the step actually sits back in, that kind of protrudes inside and, you know, conflicts with the location of the exhaust pipe. Okay, so the J brace is a couple of metal braces you install underneath the chassis, underneath the tray over here. I got them installed yesterday actually. The reason for that is because Ford says if you want to do a load lid on here and put heavy stuff on the tray, for example, if I want to install a rooftop tent on top of here and people is gonna be living on the tent, it's gonna be pretty heavy, they recommend, if anything that is not factory on top of here and it's going to be a large load, they recommend you install these J braces, which I find pretty weird because they should have done that from the factory. Alright, so I think the color matching and also the material matching is not perfect over here. So you see the front door, this is soft material, it's suede, and look at this plastic pattern right here. But on the rear door, this is just plastic and there's no pattern over here, so it's not matched up front and back. And also we have a lot of nice lovely orange, cold orange stitchings on the seat, the steering wheel, and also the gear lever right here. But again, there's no stitching on the door. There's no stitching here in orange. It's all in black. There's no orange stitching on here as well. So, you know, color matching, Ford, come on, please. Alright, so one detail about the door is actually, if you see the design of the door, it's quite straight. So there is a really sharp angle right here, which on the last generation, it was more rounded. So if you're not careful when you're opening the door, you could end up, which I've already done a few times, cutting yourself, or when you're closing the door, hit yourself with this sharp angle here. So, you know, could be a little bit dangerous if you're not careful. So Ford has designed a lot of drive modes for this new Ranger Raptor. You can use this rotary dial to rotor right to change the modes from sport, slippery, all the way to Baja and rock roll. But if you want to go back to normal, you can't cycle through. If you keep on dialing right, it'll stay in rock roll. If you want to go back to normal, you have to cycle left, all the way back to the beginning to go back to normal. So I think they should have designed a cycling mechanism where you can cycle through the modes. That would be much more convenient to use. So the New Zealand spec Raptor doesn't have the phone answering and phone making button on the steering wheel. So if someone's calling you, or if you're trying to call someone, everything has to be controlled through this infotainment screen, like here. So sometimes when you are driving, you know, this could get quite inconvenient because you have to reach out to answer or, you know, decline a call. So yeah, that's something that is different from the last generation as well, because the last generation Raptor has a phone answering button right here. So that's different. So thank you for watching this video. I'm thoroughly enjoying my ownership of this new Ranger Raptor. Some of these dislike points are only very minor oversights, which doesn't really take away how brilliant this vehicle really is. I have done another video that showcases 10 things that I really like about this vehicle, and the likes really outweighs the dislikes. So thank you again for watching. Please subscribe and like if you could. Bye!